Welcome back to the Queen City Kingdom, where we bleed blue and black through thick and thin. Look, y'all, I am seeing some wild stuff coming out of the latest mock drafts that could absolutely change the trajectory of our defense for years to come, but it might not be the way we wanted. You need to stay tuned for every second of this because the front office might be about to pull a real head-scratcher. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell right now, so you never miss your daily Panthers fix. Lee Hunter is the name on everyone's lips right now after NFL analyst Nick Shook released a mock draft that has our Carolina Panthers reaching in a way that feels all too familiar for us long-suffering fans. We are sitting right there at pick 19, and instead of grabbing a certified elite talent, Shook predicts Dan Morgan is going to turn in the card for this Texas Tech interior defensive lineman, who most scouts have nowhere near the first round. It is a move that would pair him up with our powerhouse in the middle, but at what cost, though? Shook claims that adding a run stuffer like this is the missing piece to make our interior a dynamic brick wall, but the analytics community is absolutely losing their minds over this reach. When you look at the board, almost every single major outlet from PFF to Bleacher Report has this guy ranked as a second-round talent, or even lower in some cases. We are talking about passing up on potential stars like Avion Terrell or even a playmaker like Jordan Tyson just to force a fit on the defensive line. It feels like we are watching history repeat itself with these draft reaches that have haunted this franchise, from Vernon Butler to the recent questions about Xavier Legette. If the Panthers actually pull the trigger on this at 19, it would be one of the most stunning decisions of the entire draft cycle, especially since the value just does not match the draft slot. Why would we use a premium first-rounder on a guy that most analysts agree will be sitting right there for us at pick 51? It makes you wonder if Dan Morgan is seeing something the rest of the world is missing, or if we are about to witness another massive draft blunder that sets us back. The desire to beef up the trenches is smart because we need to stop the run in the NFC South, but doing it this way feels like a total panic move that ignores the surplus of talent still on the board. This selection could be the difference between building a dynasty and another season of what-ifs for our squad. Is there a hidden reason why Carolina is so locked in on this specific prospect, or are we just falling into old habits again? Derek Brown is currently the undisputed anchor of our defensive front, and he has been playing out of his mind lately, but he desperately needs a true partner in crime to take this unit to the next level. The whole idea behind the Lee Hunter rumor is to find that perfect complement for Brown, who has become an ascending pass rusher while holding down the middle against the run. Last season, we saw Brown basically carrying the entire interior on his back, and while the front office added help at edge and inside linebacker, the middle remains a concern for Dan Morgan. Historically, we have seen what happens when the Panthers get it right in the trenches, but we have also seen the dark side of reaching for interior linemen like Vernon Butler, who never lived up to that first-round billing. It is a delicate balance in Charlotte right now, because the fans are tired of seeing value wasted when we have so many holes to fill across the roster. If you look back at how we have built this defense, we usually excel when we find value in the middle rounds, but the pressure is on Morgan to get this 19th pick perfect. Pairing someone with Brown makes sense on paper because if you create a brick wall, as Shook calls it, you force opposing offenses to play one-dimensionally, which helps our secondary. But the context here is critical because we are in a rebuilding phase where every single pick has to be a home run, and reaching for a player ranked 67th by ESPN is a massive gamble. The history of this team is littered with picks that were supposed to be the missing piece, but ended up being rotational players at best. We need stars, not just bodies, and while the logic of helping our big man in the middle is sound, the execution of using pick 19 for a second-round grade is where the tension lies. We have to ask ourselves if the front office is overvaluing the run defense position in a league that is becoming more pass-heavy every single year. The shadow of past draft mistakes looms large over Bank of America Stadium, and the fans are rightfully nervous about this specific projection coming true on draft night. There is definitely something deeper happening in the scouting department that has the league buzzing about our interest in the trenches. The numbers on Lee Hunter are all over the place, which is why this mock draft is causing such a stir among the Panther faithful. Let us look at the cold, hard facts from the big boards, because PFF has him at 39 and Tankathon has him at 46. But then you see ESPN dropping him all the way to 67. CBS Sports is the only outlier that has him even close to the first round at 21, while The Athletic has him at 60. When you average that out, you are looking at a mid to late second-round prospect being projected at 19 overall. That is a massive discrepancy that usually leads to a draft day disaster. If the Panthers follow through, they would be passing on some serious elite talent that could fall into their laps at 19. We are talking about guys like cornerback Avion Terrell, who could shut down an entire side of the field, or offensive tackles like Monroe Freeling and Blake Miller, who would protect our future. Imagine passing on a dynamic receiver like Jordan Tyson, or a game-changing tight end like Kenyon Sadiq, just to reach for a run stuffer. Scenario 1 is that Morgan actually does this, and we get a solid but unspectacular starter who helps Brown, but we miss out on a blue-chip playmaker. Scenario 2 is the smart play where we take the best player available like Keldrick Falk to boost the edge, and then we circle back to get Hunter at 51, since that is his actual projected range. That would be a masterclass in value management. Scenario 3 is the worst case where Hunter struggles to adapt to the speed of the NFL, and we realize we burned a 19th pick on a guy who should have been a third-rounder, while the guys we passed on like Omar Cooper Jr. become stars elsewhere. The statistics show that reaching for interior defensive linemen in the first round has a lower success rate than almost any other position, unless they are elite pass rushers, which Hunter is primarily billed as a run defender. We have to look at the value of the 19th pick in this specific draft class, which is deep in positions where we have major needs. Using that capital on a player that most of the league views as a second-day pick would be a bold and potentially dangerous move for a GM in his first big draft cycle. The math just does not add up for a team with this many gaps to fill. Listen here, guys, as an insider looking at this roster, it feels like the Panthers are trying to run before they can walk. I love the grit and the idea of a brick wall defense, but reaching like this is how you stay at the bottom of the division. Dan Morgan was a linebacker, so he loves those big boys up front, but he has to be smarter than this mock suggests. We cannot afford another Vernon Butler situation in Charlotte. If we pass on a guy like Jordan Tyson or Kenyon Sadiq to take a second-round DT at 19, I think the fans might actually revolt at the stadium. The value is just not there, and in today's NFL, you need explosive playmakers to compete with the high-powered offenses. My take is that this is a smokescreen or a very flawed projection by Shook. We need to maximize every single ounce of draft capital we have. If Hunter is truly the target, you trade back, collect more picks, and get him later in the first or early in the second. That is how you build a winner and sustain a dynasty. We have to stop making these foolish reaches and start playing the board the right way. Pairing him with Brown is a dream, but not at the price of a mid-first round pick. We need to stay disciplined and trust the board that the rest of the league is seeing, or we are headed for another long season of disappointment and wasted potential in the Queen City. This draft is going to be a wild ride for all of us in Carolina, and the stakes have never been higher for the future of this franchise. Do you think reaching for Lee Hunter at 19 is a genius move to solidify our defense, or are we about to witness another massive draft day mistake by the front office? I want to hear from every single one of you in the comments right now because your voice matters in this community. Are you team build the wall or team best player available? Let's get a real debate going down there. If you love the Panthers and want the most honest and explosive coverage every single day, then you have to subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications. We are building something special here, and I do not want you to miss a single update as we approach the big day. Your support is what keeps this channel going and helps us grow our Panthers family to new heights. Hit that like button if you think we should stay away from the reach, and I will see y'all in the next one. Keep pounding, and let's hope for a draft that finally brings us back to glory.